is your money on the same mission as you. If your giving platform is causing confusion or that tangled up bookkeeping, it's time to tell a better story.
Hey everyone, I'm Morgan.
And I'm Kira.
And we're your hosts of Distilled, Church Finance Made Simple. Today, we are going to be talking about dangers of using Cash App, Zelle, and Venmo for churches. We're excited to talk about this because while convenience is great, clarity and stewardship matter even more. These apps can create tangled up bookkeeping, donor confusion, and unnecessary risk. And we want to help churches choose systems that protect both their people and their mission. So, Kira, before we jump in, do you have a good icebreaker question for us?
Oh, yes. Morgan, it's summer, or it's about to be summer. I'm in Florida. It's perpetually summer. Because of this summertime, what's your go-to summer cool-down treat?
That is such a good question. I am a diehard ice cream person, so whether it's summer, winter, a rainy day, ice cream will always be my answer. But also, you know those Freezy Pops that you had that come in like the plastic, they're all connected with all the colors?
Yep.
That screams summer to me, and specifically the grape one.
Oh, okay, wait. Grape Freezy Pop. What flavor ice cream are you going for?
Cookies and cream all day.
Oh, gosh, what a great choice. I'm also an ice cream girl. I feel like that is the name of the game. Winter, spring, summer, or fall. Lately, though, I've been on a Moose Tracks kick. I hadn't had it until a year ago, and it's kind of changed my life. So we're going to say Moose Tracks.
That's a good answer. That's a really good one, too.
All right, well, you ready to head into this episode?
Let's do it.
Well, hey, everyone. Welcome. I'm Dan Porbay.
And I'm Greg Daly.
And we're with Parable, your church financial team. We help churches with payroll, accounting, and CFO services. And today we're going to be talking about the dangers of using Cash App, Zelle, and Venmo for churches.
Now, come on, Dan. It can't be that dangerous. I use it all the time. I love Venmo. What's wrong with it?
Of course.
Let's set the stage. You're in a board meeting, maybe at a staff retreat, and you want to make it as easy as possible for people to give. So someone says, hey, let's just do Venmo because everyone has it and it feels like a win, frictionless ministry. But should churches use Venmo for donations? I think sometimes just because the app exists, sometimes we think it exists, we should use it rather than thinking about it from a different level.
That's right. Yeah. And it's easy, it's convenient, and you think like, oh, let's just do it. Everyone's on it. It'll be easy. But what it actually does then is leads to sometimes kind of tangled up bookkeeping and a big mess at the end. So
tangled up bookkeeping sounds bad.
That does sound bad. Yeah. if that's all you take from this video, that equals bad. Tangled up bookkeeping. Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Well, so what do we mean when we say Venmo? When we're talking about Venmo, we're talking about any of these like peer-to-peer apps like Venmo and Cash App and that kind of thing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Venmo's fine. Venmo's not fine, but all these other ones are fine.
Sadly, no, that's not what I'm saying. We're going to say. No. Well, let's just start. So, Venmo Personal, you should never use Venmo Personal. We get churches that come to us, to start service with us, and we find that they're using a Venmo Personal account, which
like the pastor opened up a Venmo, or maybe
right.
one of the staff members opened one up, and they're doing everything through it.
Yep. And part of the reason for that is because that used to be the only option, and so people that chose to do this, that's how they did it. Well, the problem with that is lack of transparency. You can confuse personal and professional. There's no donor tracking. The transactions are generally public. And also because the gift wasn't directly to the church, you can actually run into tax issues with that being deductible, and that can be a problem down the road. So for sure, never use a personal account with any of these. Now, Venmo does have a Venmo for charities. And so if you're going to use Venmo, you need to make sure at least that you have that set up for sure. But there's still downsides to that. So we just want to go through a few of those. And this is just kind of meant to help you understand what this is all about and some of the issues, and for you to then be able to make the right decision for your church on if it still makes sense, understanding some of these downsides. So one of them is a lack of donor data. Donations can be made with just a Venmo handle. So you might not even know who made the donation. So you can't thank them, follow up, track their engagement, etc. If you're, trying to be strategic with your donor follow up, you might have no clue on this person's really sacrificially giving to the church, and you might think they're not engaged and not giving at all because you don't have that clarity. Another piece then, if you are trying to track it, anything has to be done manually. And so it just can be very tedious. You can have errors. And so the time that you might take on that might actually be more of a hindrance to ministry than the ease you're trying to create. Another piece is you can't do recurring giving generally. And so, just people aren't able to set that up and have that recurring giving happening like you can use with some of these other programs that we would recommend for it. So there's a transparency gap as well, Greg.
Yes, transparency is a big topic right now, especially I was, I'm a big fan of research, and there was a research study out there that showed like the trust in organizations or the trust in different
Let me guess.
locations.
Pastors were 100% always trusted.
Always trusted.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you'd be surprised. So lawyers come in somewhere in the 12% range.
Wow.
And pastors are much higher than lawyers. So that's good. Bankers are kind of down there in near lawyers. But churches are actually not that high. It's in the 60s. And so I think what people are wanting is more transparency, because churches aren't always required to give the same level of transparencies as nonprofits. Sometimes they just don't. It's not because they're necessarily trying to hide something. It's just they're not required to do it, and so they don't operate in that realm. But your donors and the givers, they definitely want transparency. So this is a thing that churches need to struggle with, like, how much transparency can we get? This isn't automatic here. Transparency is not, you can give with multiple people. You can give multiple people access to Venmo. And it's not, it's often tied to one person's phone. So it doesn't have the proper controls or visibility into each transaction. And that's another reason to kind of stay out of this lane.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be done. It's just often set up in a way that's not done with transparency.
Yeah, it's kind of like, if you think about it, like the old petty cash. Petty cash used to just be, back when we used to go to offices. Remember that?
Yeah. And use cash,
right?
What's
like
that?
Some secretary would have like a drawer that she locked, and there would be this bundle of cash just sitting in there, and it's called petty cash. And it was just for like these small things. And it was kind of back before credit cards were super popular, because credit cards make things a lot more transparent, because you know exactly who spent it and what they spent it on, and even what vendor, because the credit card information comes through. Cash, you don't always have that. So if the person loses the receipt, you're like, what did that $25 I gave you go to? Or worse, what did that $1,000 I gave you go to? There just isn't you can set up a very countable kind of petty cash system. It's just much more manual. And that's the same way here. It's a lot more manual, and making sure you have the right documentation.
Okay. Now, with that, even donation receipts, like being able to receipt someone. So actually, the nice thing of Venmo for Charities is that it does automatically send a donation receipt. However, the issue is it just sends it one time. Here's what you gave. And come tax time, people may be looking to the church to track down how much did I give. And you might not know that either because you didn't have clarity or because you didn't manually track it. And so that could be a problem. Or you can also introduce confusion because you might be tracking it in Planning Center or whatever church management software you're using. And then they have this receipt from Venmo and they have the receipt from you, and now they're double counting their deduction, which of course everyone wants to do, but the government frowns heavily on that. So,
which this is a good point to say, like, these apps are changing daily, right? There's all kinds of developers right now working on this. That's why they probably added Venmo for Charities and some of these things. So this could get better over time. Right now is what we're saying. This creates a bunch of problems. What was it? Tangled bookkeeping?
Tangled bookkeeping.
Tangled up bookkeeping.
That's right. And then donor restricted gifts. So one of the things in Venmo people can do is they can put in a comment and say I want this to go to this. Well, actually, as a nonprofit, to receive that donation, if there's a donor restriction on it, you have to honor that. So it could actually create these donor restricted gifts that you're actually supposed to follow with that. And then privacy. By default, Venmo is a public platform. You see people's transactions. And so, people can hide it, but it doesn't always happen. And so there's just some, people that will have just, consider the privacy aspect to that and what people would be seeing with that. So again, we're not necessarily saying that people or churches shouldn't use Venmo. You need to understand the risks and you need to understand the added burdens first, and just to make sure that you set it up correctly, because it seems like an easy solution, but the reality is it's not as simple as it sounds. And so you just want to make sure that we're not trying to make it harder for our donors, but we are just trying to find something that's accountable and secure and like a professional way to give. And so we typically recommend working with organizations like Overflow, Planning Center, PushPay, Tiley, that are in this space and actually take care of a lot of these issues and simplify that for your church.
So don't let the quest for convenience lead to possible exposure or lack of confidence. Is your money on the same mission as you? If your giving platform is causing confusion or that tangled up bookkeeping, it's time to tell a better story. I wanted to also highlight there's a link to our budgeting toolkit if you're interested in some deeper things around budgeting. liveyourparable.com/financial-summit. That's liveyourparable.com/financial-summit. And then Venmo is just one of the several systems that churches need to manage their finances well. And there's all kinds of systems out there. We've now worked with over 500 churches, helping them implement better systems, processes, and tools for their finances specifically. And so in our upcoming book, this is going to help pastors better understand everything that's needed for healthy church finances and really how to keep your dollars on the mission of your church and every dollar on that mission. So go to liveyourparable.com/financial-summit and you can find out more about the new upcoming book.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next video.
Thanks for joining us for Distilled, Church Finance Made Simple. Be sure to hit subscribe and catch our future episodes. Distilled is brought to you by Parable. Parable is your church financial team. We help churches like yours with accounting, payroll, and CFO services. To find more episodes of Distilled, resources from the show, or to connect with us about how we can help your church finances, visit us at churchfinanceMadeSimple.com.